When did you realize the kindest person you knew was dangerous? Everyone said Maria was a godsend. When my grandmother's health started to fail, Maria, her neighbor and best friend, stepped in. She moved into Grandma's spare room, cooked her meals, managed her appointments, and held her hand during the long, confusing afternoons. My family praised her. An angel on earth, my aunt would say. But when I came to visit for the summer, something felt wrong. It wasn't one big thing. It was 100 small, sharp details that didn't add up. My grandmother, who had always loved her bright, colorful garden, now sat in a dim room with the curtains drawn. Maria said the light hurt her eyes. My grandmother, a chatterbox her whole life, was now quiet and withdrawn. Maria said she was resting. And then there was the mail. Maria would collect it every day and sort through it before giving it to my grandmother. Just protecting her from scams and bills that would upset her, she'd say with a warm, reassuring smile. But the smiles never quite reached her eyes. The first concrete clue was a handbag. I was helping Maria bring in groceries, and I saw a brand new designer handbag on the hall table. It was beautiful, leather, and very expensive. A gift to myself, Maria said breezily when she saw me looking. A little retail therapy. 2 days later, I was helping my grandmother with her online banking, trying to show her how to pay a bill. I saw a charge from the same designer brand, $4,000. When I asked my grandmother about it, she looked confused. Oh, I don't remember that. Maria handles the finances now. She's so good with money. That's when the cold dread started to seep in. Maria wasn't a caregiver, she was a predator. I knew I couldn't confront her directly. She had the entire family charmed. They would see me as a jealous, ungrateful grandchild, so I started digging quietly. I started with public records. I found out Maria had declared bankruptcy twice in the last 10 years. She had a history of debt and financial instability. Then I turned to social media. Maria's profile was a masterclass in deception. It was filled with photos of her and my grandmother, always smiling. The captions were saccharine sweet, so blessed to be caring for this beautiful soul. My best friend, my inspiration. But as I scrolled back through months of posts, I saw a pattern. A week after a photo of her and my grandmother enjoying a quiet day at home, there would be a new post. Maria on a weekend trip to a spa. Maria showing off a new diamond bracelet. Maria dining at a Michelin-starred restaurant. Her lifestyle didn't match that of a humble, live-in caregiver. She was funding a life of luxury with my grandmother's money. The most damning evidence came from Maria herself. She often posted pictures of my grandmother to show how well she was being cared for. One photo was captioned, "Poor dear is so confused today, but we're having a lovely, quiet afternoon." The photo showed my grandmother looking tired in her armchair, but in the background, reflected in the glass of a picture frame, I could see a television. And on the television was a live news broadcast. I zoomed in. I could just make out the date and time displayed in the corner of the screen. I cross-referenced it with my grandmother's bank statements. On that exact day, at that exact time, a $5,000 transfer was made from my grandmother's savings account to a new account I didn't recognize. Maria's story was that my grandmother was too confused to handle her own affairs. But her own photo proved that my grandmother was lucid enough to be watching a live news broadcast at the precise moment a large sum of money left her account. I gathered everything: the bankruptcy records, the social media posts with their lavish purchases, the bank statements, and the final, damning photograph. I called a family meeting. I didn't tell them what it was about, only that it was urgent. When everyone was gathered in the living room, with Maria hovering solicitously behind my grandmother's chair, I turned on the television and connected my laptop. I didn't accuse, I just presented the facts. I put Maria's posts side by side with the bank statements. The spa trip next to the unexplained cash withdrawal, the new bracelet next to the jewelry store charge. Then I showed them the final photograph with the reflection in the glass. I zoomed in on the date, then showed them the $5,000 transfer. Maria started sputtering, talking about gifts, about misunderstandings. But the proof was right there, projected 6 feet high on the wall. My aunt, the one who called her an angel, was the one who called the police. The last I saw of Maria, she was being led out of my grandmother's house in handcuffs, still protesting that she was the victim. My grandmother's lights are now set to a bright, cheerful pink every single